So to those that aren't aware, I am not the biggest fan of the Las Vegas track in the new F1 game. I don't exactly have the best record around it, and honestly, I'd rather drive literally anything else. Anyway, let's get into the video. Today I had 3 Las Vegas races in a row, and this is how they went. Okay, this is just a random side note, but I've literally just got the track map up to record this video, and I've just noticed something I really need to point out. Okay, so this is the track map for Vegas. Obviously we've got turn 1, turn 2, it's pretty acceptable. Turn 3. Why is this a 4th turn? That's just the same turn. It's one turn. Why is that turn 4? What the fuck is that? Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to make someone aware of that, and hopefully the comments have some answers. Shit track. I also saw a comment on one of my videos where someone wasn't happy with my lights out and away we go, so I'm going to try and give it some more. I don't know. I'm going to try and give it some more. Whatever that means. It's lights out and away we go, and it's been an incredibly average start from me. Someone has jump started and gone straight up into like P6 or something. I don't even know what's going on. There's absolute carnage through turn number 1. I'm side by side with about 15 people at the same time. We've hit the back of a Williams and been hit at the back ourselves. We broke on our wing. We're off track through this weird turn 4. We wiggle our wheel in frustration, and that is an absolutely awful start for us. Coming into turn number 5, a Red Bull absolutely sends it up our inside. We get a beautiful switchback on him, back up into P13, I think. I can't really read the numbers. We've got 2 cars off in the barrier on the right hand side. We want to make it a 3rd, so we put ourselves in the barrier and break our wing. There's a car spun round facing the wrong way. I don't know what turn this is, but regardless, this is a terrible start for me. And as we come to the end of lap number 1, we're right behind P9 and P10, but we are going to be coming into the pit to fix our front wing. We're going to come flying into the pit. There's 2 cars battling into the pit exit, and they put me off, and we absolutely speed over the line like an absolute champion. This has been a phenomenal start. Regardless, pitting on lap number 1 means we've got the undercuts of all undercuts, so as we come out through turn 3 and turn number 4, we've lost the back end and immediately broken our rear wing. God fucking damn it. So that was basically the end of our first race. Lap number 5, I had a highlight of losing it through turn number 4/3 and spinning again. Standard, pretty much. But probably my highlight of the race was on lap number 7 when I have a similar spin but managed to save it. That's all I've got, really. We make up a handful of positions throughout the race, mainly due to people's incompetence rather than our actual pace. And at the end of the final lap, we sit behind P6 and P7. It doesn't matter because we've got a 5-second penalty anyway. But, yeah, we finished in P8. What a shit race. Well, hopefully the next race can be a bit more, you know, positive for us. We start P3, so we had a good qualifying. We get a terrible start because we just don't get off the line in time. We're about a second behind everyone else. We immediately lost P3 into turn number 1 on the outside. Although it's looking pretty spacious, it's not, because I just closed the door on the car on the inside. Completely my fault. We put them in the wall. We've absolutely destroyed our floor. And yeah, that's the end of race number 2 for me. These Vegas races are going absolutely horrendously for me, but honestly, as expected. However, race number 3, something happened. I did this weird thing in the middle sector in qualifying, and I don't really know what that means. Yeah, I don't know really what was up with that, but at the end of qualifying, we're somehow going to qualify P3. I'm a 10th off pole, and I honestly... I don't know how I've done that. But of course, it's not our first time starting from P3. We fucked it up last time, so let's fuck it up again. It's actually been a better start than last time. We actually, you know, let the clutch go at the right time. And it's looking pretty clean heading through turn number 1. We've got no Williams cars to drive into the back to through turn number 3. And despite our best efforts to break our wing on the inside of turn number 3, we're actually going to make it to the first straight without any damage. Now this is new territory for me because I'm yet to do this section during a race without any damage to my car. So I'll probably end up putting it in the barrier, and I very nearly do on the exit of turn number 5. And that has been actually the story of the opening part of this race. I genuinely think it's because I'm used to driving with no wing on this track, so I was constantly just oversteering on the exit of corners, and we rightfully lose P3. I mean, it was inevitable, really. Being in the dizzying heights of P4 at the end of lap number 1 is something I've never experienced before, and honestly it made me feel a bit lightheaded. So in the final braking zone, I miss it and just drive completely into the side of P3. I did do the league racer thing and wait. It didn't really help him all too much because I get straight back ahead of him. We're still P5 and somehow don't have damage from that, but yeah, I completely killed him, so I deeply apologise for that. And as punishment, I am now in the carnage that is the mid-pack. You can see Filthy Elite's had an incident with now P1, I'm not sure what's happened to him. But we find ourselves back up in P4 and actually challenging Filthy Elite. I'm guessing he's got a bit of damage, and you can see there's an end plate missing on the left-hand side. He's going to use ERS to pull ahead of us. I'm not expecting to challenge him whatsoever. Mainly because he's out. So at the end of lap number 2, we're directly behind Max for P2. And we're legitimately on for a podium. I don't know how this is happening, but as we come down the main straight, we're catching Max, and I think we're going to have our first legitimate overtake of the race, and possibly at this track in general. Up the inside of turn number 1, what is there to say? It's a clean move. Remarkably. We very clearly didn't have the pace of P1, and honestly I could not give less of a fuck about winning this race. All I wanted was a podium. However, down the massive straight, we find Bambi directly behind us, and obviously he's the one I took out in the final corner. So I decide just to let him through. I didn't want to be taken out by him, and honestly I wouldn't blame him if he did. But we decided to let him through, and hopefully he can just leave us alone and I can just cruise to an easy P3. Much like P1, Bambi very clearly had the pace on us, and at the end of lap number 5 we're going to come into the pit, not speeding to the pit lane this time, and it seems my team don't want me to do well because they fixed my wing. I can only assume that it's just force of habit. I don't think I've ever come into the pit at Las Vegas and not needed a wing change, so I can't fault the team there really. That's just force of habit. You may think that's just a joke and I've just cut the part where I actually hit the wall, but I genuinely have no idea why they fixed my wing. I can only assume it's the game trying to catch up on times it should have fixed my wing but didn't. But after my pit stop, despite my wing change, I still found myself in a net P3. I was just miles ahead of P4, or the battle for P4. Not so much now, but I was. And the following lap we are going to retake our P3 when another car comes into the pit. We had the pace on P4. I don't know what happened. Something just clicked and I got put in a really shit lobby and I was able to, you know, pretend I was fast. And with absolutely no pressure on me whatsoever, absolutely nothing happened to me for the rest of the race. I was able to pull a gap on P4. P2 and P1 were fucking miles ahead. They were actually battling for the lead, so, you know, if they took each other out of the final corner, I could have been on for a remarkable but undeserving win. It obviously didn't happen. As you can see, they're on the final straight now, and it is going to be GBS that takes the win. But more importantly, it means with a 9-second buffer to P4, and for once, no damage. I don't even care what the pit stops say, I didn't get damaged this race. I am remarkably going to come home in Las Vegas to take a podium place. So after all the pain I've been through at this track, I finally get myself a podium. I don't give a shit about getting the win. That's just not going to happen. Let's just ignore the fact that I 100% absolutely, without question, cost Bambi the race win, and just focus on the fact that I got a podium at Las Vegas.